Truly.
We love a collaborative approach.
We love it. And we want more, especially chiropractors, to do it more, because there is a world where Western and alternative medicine can coexist, and it's a beautiful world. What is a flare? What does a flare look like? We way overcomplicate this. This is going to look different for everybody. So to keep it really simple, a flare means one of your symptoms has exceeded what it usually does, and it is preventing you from doing things that you're usually able to do or want to do. If it is debilitating you, your symptoms are debilitating you, that is a flare. We then say middle is the in-between. So baseline is your everyday symptoms, and a lot of times people get confused and they think baseline means no symptoms. That's just lying to yourself. Your baseline when you're living with a chronic illness, you're gonna have symptoms. Your baseline can change over time, but your baseline is not your perfect world. Your baseline is, what is your normal day to day right now? And being really honest with that. And then middle is in between those two. And then we track those every single day for usually first 1 month at a time. We do this for about 3 months, and we want to see, is our flares decreasing in frequency and intensity? Because the reality is living with this condition means we're never going to be 100% flare free. And a big part of what we do is help people accept that, because that is a harsh reality, but it is our reality and we got to live in it. And if we can do things and create strategies and tools on our own to help those flares become less intense and less frequent, that gives us our power back. And our goal for all of our clients is, you have a flare one time every 3 months. That's annoying, but you know what to do with it. You know how to handle it, and it never debilitates you, and it never leaves you feeling like, I don't know what to do in this moment.
I would say on the same side of that, of it starts to help you really identify, do we have known things that might lead to a flare? And that same sort of ownership and autonomy over those things leads us to a place of making decisions from empowerment of, is this worth it, sort of thing, versus living a life of, I can't do that because it leads to symptom flares. It can be like, you know what, I am going to go on that trip with my friends, and I know I'm likely to flare after, and I know what I'm going to do to mitigate that. And I'm going to be okay with the fact that I do flare, or that it might lead to some symptom loudness. I think that's one of those things that's really useful about when we flare track with people, is it creates this whole new framework of how to make a decision about, really, is it worth it or not worth it to you? That drink with friends at the bar might not be worth it, but like going to your best friend's wedding, worth it, right? Or it can be smaller scale, but there's a lot of freedom when that gets to be the lens you make the decision from.
Yep. And so when we talk about flare tracking with clients, we explain it proactively and reactively, and we label things warning signs and triggers. So warning signs is something your body shows you before symptoms come on. I was showing you guys before, I had blood pooling. That's my warning sign. I'm about to get brain fog. I need to go have some salt, or I need to go lie down with my legs above my heart to get that blood volume back up to my brain. That is me being proactive. So I saw the warning sign. I proactively used a tool that I know helps me, because I have the data that proves that for myself. And I'm here right now. I don't have brain fog. Cool. Yeah. Triggers are something that bring on symptoms for you, and we need to be reactive when it comes to triggers. Sometimes triggers are in our control. Sometimes they're out of our control. And triggers are the more frustrating one, because sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. If you know your trigger is a barometric pressure change, when that happens, it is out of your control, but we can still have reactive strategies to mitigate our symptom intensity, having relief routines on deck to help with your symptoms. I personally, every single cycle, third day, I get a migraine. So I now know I don't schedule things on that day, and I'm going to have a lot of relief strategies and tools for that day, so that I can get through that a little bit easier. I can't prevent the migraine from happening, but I can make it not fail my entire week. It can just be that day, and then I get to move forward. That's just one example.
I would say really common triggers for people are travel, air quality, weather. For those of you familiar with the term October slide, that's kind of a conglomerate of triggers, season changes, that sort of thing. Those, I would say, are big ones. Individuals who are still experiencing a regular menstrual cycle, I would say that's a trigger for some, not all.
Yep. ovulation for others.
Right. It's for anybody who's experiencing those things still, like that, those hormone shifts can play a role. They don't have to. Mm-hmm. Some people are totally fine. And so hormones get into a whole other side of things, but like different phases of your menstrual cycle can absolutely be a piece of the trigger puzzle. And it's not that we can prevent that phase of the cycle from happening, but like Taylor said, what can I do to make this as least awful as possible? Traveling, what can I do to make travel as least awful as possible? What can I do? What can I bring with me? How can I plan my day around this? Those are all things that really help people, and I would say those are really common triggers, especially for this population.
I would add the most commons we see every single day: stress, sleep, amount, quantity, and quality as well. And let's get into the sleep conversation. We get asked a lot, how can you even help your sleep? Is there anything you can even do to help your sleep? And there are a lot of conditions that can come along with hEDS that make sleep harder, like sleep apnea. And so we are proponents for testing for these things. I don't think that we are testing enough for some of these because there are good strategies out there. And I will just say personally, I didn't even realize that I wasn't getting good sleep quality until I used one of those nasal strips. And now I feel way more rested when I wake up in the morning. And that revealed to me my entire right nostril is not nostril, whatever it's called. It's collapsed. I get no airflow out of it. And I have a really good nighttime routine, a really good morning routine. I'm doing all of the basics. And so that's our approach in general when it comes to these things is, are we meeting our basics first? Always. If we're not meeting the basics, that's where we're starting every single time, no matter what you're dealing with. We got to meet the basics. And I know that can sound annoying and frustrating sometimes because it is annoying.
Let's dive into, right? Let's really dive into the basics. If it's, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Do I need to do something to make my body feel safe? If we're not eating, then we dive into it. We're not just like, well, make sure you eat.
Why aren't we eating?
Are we not getting hunger signals? Are we not having time to eat? Is it food prep that's leading to something? Like, we're going to dive into that.
Do we have symptoms after eating? And maybe we need to dive into that a little bit more.
What's a strategy to do that? And sometimes it's
cooking and cleaning that's actually the barrier, not the food eating itself. Maybe we get a meal service. There's so many ways to outsource and create different strategies and options for yourself when you know what the priorities are, because there's so many things that we have to pay attention to.
And if it's something like that, and if you have familial or partner support, and it's like, hey, partner, I know that if I don't get enough to eat, these things trigger, because oftentimes, if you have a good partner, they want to help support you. You can now have this conversation of, cool, this is how you can support me. Yeah. I know I can cook the meal. I know I can't clean up the meal. Can we trade off? Can you help me with that sort of thing? Same with hydration. If we're like, why are we not getting enough salt in? Why are you not getting enough? We're not going to tell you to just drink more Gatorade or whatever electrolyte solution. Well, just make sure you do that. We're going to be like, do you not like the flavor? Does it upset your stomach? Do we need different water bottles? I'm a beverage goblin. That's my strategy. Not while I'm traveling, but I have a water bottle in every room in my house. That's how it works for me. I have one that always has.
I'm a plastic cup girly. I have lots of plastic cups around.
And that's fine. I have one that is salty water is what I call it. It's my electrolyte water. I have a plain water. I have a car water. I have an office water, the bedroom water. And that's just what works. Some people, do we need to put a straw? Do we need to not? Are we having issues with swallowing and jaw issues? Yeah. And then do we do that? Which I think is something we should really talk about. What are all the things that we really screen for with people? But when it comes to basics, we're not just going to be like, well, do that.
That's not helpful. That's not
the
helpful.
Sleep study side of it is back to you're looking for answers.
Yes.
That's what they're doing. They're going to give you an answer. Yes, you have some sort of condition or structural piece that's happening here. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay. And if you don't, then it starts to open up different avenues. It's not like, well, there's another no.
We know big, bad, or not, in this case, it's not even big, bad, and scary, but if something structural is ruled out, okay, we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now we can focus on the other areas because there's always something we can do to improve literally everything. There just is. There's always something more that you can do. You don't always have to do more to be better, but there's always something that we can do. I don't believe that there's nothing you can do for anything in life. There's always something you can do.
There's always another way. Yeah. You don't have to that way, but there's always another way. Yeah. And I think to the same idea of going to providers for answers, I would say a common question and frustration that we get from people is, why won't some doctor be the one who manages my hypermobility?
Right.
And I hear you on that frustration. And this is a different, I'm going to table the medical system messiness side of this. It's because hypermobility is so systemic, it is not one person's job. And it would be really hard for it to be one person's job. You've heard us talk about cardiologists, neurologists, allergists. Rheumatology gets involved. GI often gets involved. Sometimes people have foot issues, and then there's a podiatrist involved, and then allied health professionals on top of that, your PTs, your OTs, your chiros, your mental health, your other coaches, and that sort of thing. It's not any one person's job, and I get that that's frustrating, that you can't just go somewhere. If you want to be seen for hypermobility, or what office do I go to? And this is where working with someone who can really help you navigate that care team, saying, what symptoms do we need help with? And that tells us who we need to go see. To this day, I've never seen a rheumatologist.
Same.
Other people absolutely need to go see one. And reasons for that, we've mentioned comorbid conditions. Your top 3 that we're definitely assuming some piece of the puzzle is involved is some sort of dysautonomia, some sort of hypermobility, whether that's HSD or confirmed hEDS, and then some sort of mast cell bucket concern. And then we see other things like some sort of neurodivergence is often on board. And so we're navigating habits and strategies around that. Or we're maybe using community spaces to help provide the right kind of support there. GI issues, celiac and gluten intolerances, and that sort of thing. That does not mean if you're hypermobile, you don't tolerate this sort of thing. None of it is, if I have this, then I feel this way. It can be sometimes. And this is where flare tracking and cutting stuff out or that sort of thing can be really helpful. Sometimes we see increased incidences of pelvic floor issues or endometriosis, adenomyosis. Interstitial cystitis, from my belief system, is really a mast cell mediated condition. Yeah. I don't think we have any data really to support that because it's a women's health issue, it's a mast cell issue, and we just don't have a lot of people studying in those spaces. Those are some of the conditions that can be pieces of it. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other things that people often have.
TMJD.
I know I'm missing one.
And these are just, again, there's a lot of conditions that can come along with this, but the other half of it is true. And I know Courtney Jessimer from the NORS Lab talks about this quite often. Not everything is an hEDS thing. And so we want to always make sure that we are not just blaming everything on hEDS, because that's not helpful either. But these are common things that do come along, and we should be screening for and looking into and looking for. And so we take a head to toe approach, and we're screening for any red flags in the musculoskeletal system, and then any common things that usually come along with this. And then obviously a deep dive into your individual problem areas. And the common ones from musculoskeletal realm is we're always going to be asking about jaw. We're always going to be asking about pelvic floor. We're always going to be asking about flat feet or a high arch. Those are 2 very common presentations in this population.
We're going to be asking about balance and stability too. And this is where proprioception is the word some people know about it, but it's like, I've asked this in more conversations of, are you a clumsy kid? Did you run into things? That sort of thing can happen for people too. But all of that aside, those conditions, it's something we all screen, and it's something we believe everyone should be screening for. We're not coming from a place of we're better because we're doing this. We're trying to tell everyone, please do this. As an allied health professional, when we say we treat the body, mean it. If you say you treat the whole body, even if that just means you're ruling those things in and out, to look at people as isolated spaces, which is how the medical system is built right now, is challenging when you work with a systemic condition. And so working with someone who can help you navigate those ins and outs, which is really the gap we try to fill. We'll tell you full on, we're not skin experts. If you have some eczema or rashes or things like that, we're going to rule out red flags, big, bad, and scary stuff, that sort of thing. And then we're going to help you find the person to get there.
Yes.
We're not claiming that we know everything.
No.
Because we don't. We're constantly learning.
And we're always referring. We're the referral queens.
We
Truly
love a collaborative approach.
We love it. And we want more, especially chiropractors, to do it more, because there is a world where Western and alternative medicine can coexist, and it's a beautiful world.